The Property Bulletin by London Property, the home of superprime.
Chancellor Rachel Reeves is set to deliver her second budget on November the 26th. And with a big hole in the nation's finances, most experts agree we should brace for another tax squeeze. So what could be coming, and what can you do to prepare? Let's break it down into 5 areas. First, your home. Property is always an easy target. There's talk of a capital gains tax on high-value main homes, or even a new annual levy on properties over £500,000. If you were already planning to sell, you might want to complete before November, but don't rush into big decisions just on speculation. Second, pensions. The famous 25% tax-free lump sum could be reduced or scrapped. Higher rate tax relief might also be cut. If you can afford it, think about topping up your pension now while the current relief still stands. Third, savings and investments. Capital gains and dividend taxes are likely to rise again. The best defence, use your tax-free allowances. That means filling your ISA, maximising pension contributions, and making the most of dividend and capital gains allowances. Fourth, your income. Tax thresholds are frozen until at least 2028, which means more people drifting into higher tax bands. And there's even talk of national insurance being charged on rental or investment income. If you're close to a threshold, extra pension contributions could help keep you below the line. Finally, your legacy. Inheritance tax is already catching more families, and changes could make gifting less generous. If you are planning to give money or assets away, doing it before the budget could make sense. Another option, a life insurance policy written in trust to cover the future bill. Under this Labour government, the tax burden is only heading one way. Britain's biggest listed residential landlord, Grainger, and its chief executive, Helen Gordon, believe the solution to housing shortages is buy-to-let. Grainger owns more than 11,000 rental homes, worth about £3.5 billion. On Monday, it officially becomes a REIT. That's a real estate investment trust, which means it can distribute most of its profits to shareholders tax-free. Helen Gordon has been running the business since 2016. She admits the share price hasn't always gone the right way, but she's adamant that large-scale landlords like Grainger are part of the solution to Britain's housing crisis, not the problem. Her argument is simple. Companies like Grainger can deliver homes faster than traditional house builders. She points to a scheme in Salford where Grainger delivered 8 years' worth of housing supply in just 18 months. She also highlights that Grainger's rental occupancy is consistently around 96 to 98%, a sign, she says, that demand is strong and stable. Critics argue that big landlords drive up rents and lock young people out of home ownership. Gordon disagrees. She says the real issue is a lack of supply, and that pushing smaller landlords out of the market with higher taxes won't automatically make buying easier. In fact, she warns it could make renting harder by shrinking the pool of available homes. Grainger's transformation into a REIT also comes at a time when the government is considering applying national insurance to rental income. That could push many individual landlords to sell up. Gordon is quick to point out that Grainger wouldn't be affected and suggests that investors looking for exposure to the rental market might be better off buying shares in companies like hers, particularly within an ISA, where dividends are tax-free. Helen Gordon herself is a veteran of the property industry, from running developments in Milton Keynes in her 20s to senior roles at Railtrack, Legal & General and RBS, before taking the top job at Grainger. Those who've worked with her say she's hard as nails, but also one of the most persuasive operators in the sector. The question now is whether her message will cut through, that large-scale landlords aren't the enemy, but could actually help Britain build and manage the homes it desperately needs. In 2025, Larry Ellison, best known as the founder of Oracle, committed £1 billion to build the Ellison Institute of Technology campus in Oxford. Due to open in 2027, it's designed as more than just a collection of buildings. Think of it as a hub where science, AI and sustainability meet. Alongside the campus, Ellison has pledged £130 million for research and nearly £40 million for scholarships. This isn't just philanthropy, it's legacy building, and it's strategic. Why Oxford? The university connection is key. By embedding the institute in Oxford's academic world, Ellison ensures a pipeline of talent and research that could rival Silicon Valley in influence. It's a blueprint that other tech billionaires are following. Elon Musk has reshaped real estate demand through EV infrastructure, Jeff Bezos through Amazon's logistics boom, and Bill Gates through sustainable smart building initiatives. The common thread? Real estate as a lever for long-term business goals. Oxford stands to gain thousands of jobs, from construction to cutting-edge research roles. The area could transform into a global innovation hub, attracting more public and private investment. But growth like this comes with risks. We've seen it in San Francisco and Seattle. Tech money pushes up property prices, squeezes housing supply and accelerates gentrification. Oxford, with its historic zoning and already limited housing, could face similar challenges. And it's not just Oxford. Across the UK, we're seeing structural shifts in real estate. Data centres are booming, fueled by tech demand. Blackstone's £10 billion project in the northeast is just one example. But investors warn that oversupply could lead to market saturation. So what does this mean for investors? On one hand, projects like Ellison's align with megatrends: AI, clean energy, smart cities, which promise strong long-term growth. On the other, there are risks of distortion when a single billionaire pumps billions into a local market. If priorities shift, whole regions could be left vulnerable. The advice from market analysts is simple. Diversify. Don't put all your bets on tech-driven property. Follow megatrends like AI and sustainability. Watch local dynamics, zoning, housing supply, demographics. And use data-driven tools to spot undervalued assets in new tech hubs. In short, Larry Ellison's Oxford project isn't about one billionaire's vision. It's a sign of a bigger shift, where wealth, real estate, and purpose collide. Done well, these projects can drive innovation and growth, but left unchecked, they risk creating bubbles and pricing out communities. As the Ellison Institute rises in Oxford, it may come to symbolize not just one man's legacy, but the future of how global capital reshapes local economies. London may be losing some of its wealthiest residents, but it's still holding on to their fortunes. New data from With Intelligence shows that while billionaire families are packing up for Monaco, Switzerland or Dubai, their money managers are largely staying put in the UK capital. Here's the backdrop. In April, the government scrapped the old non-dom tax regime. Now, wealthy foreign residents face a 40% inheritance tax on their worldwide assets. The change has triggered a record millionaire exodus, with Britain expected to lose around 16,500 millionaires this year. That's more than any other country, even China. But here's the twist. London's family offices, the private firms that manage billionaire wealth, aren't following their clients out of the country. Of the 259 single-family offices registered here, overseeing some $344 billion, nearly 4 in 5 are staying. Take steel tycoon Lakshmi Mittal. He's off to the UAE. Real estate billionaires Richard and Ian Livingston, they're heading for Monaco. Shipping magnate John Frederickson, Dubai. But their family offices, the engines managing their money, are still anchored in London. Why? Because London offers something few other cities can. A dense ecosystem of specialist lawyers, wealth managers, banks and tax experts. It's Europe's largest asset management hub, with a 36% market share, far ahead of rivals like Paris, Frankfurt or Zurich. For many billionaires, moving house may cut their tax bill, but moving their entire financial infrastructure is just too costly and complicated. In fact, London isn't just managing wealth for UK residents. Around $81 billion is already run here on behalf of billionaires who don't live in Britain at all. Roughly half of the assets under management by UK family offices come from overseas owners. So what does this mean? It highlights a paradox. London may be shrinking as a place the ultra-rich want to live, but it remains the place they want their fortunes managed. Still, there are risks ahead. Rumours suggest Chancellor Rachel Reeves could explore a wealth tax in November's budget, and if that happens, London's sticky advantage might weaken. For now, though, the numbers are clear. Even as the wealthy flee, London remains their financial home. John Caudwell, the Phones for You billionaire, has made an ambitious gamble on London luxury property. Back in 2011, Caudwell paid £143 million for a car park in Mayfair. The plan? To turn it into one Mayfair, one of the most opulent apartment blocks the city has ever seen. We're talking a spa, a 25-metre swimming pool, grand entertaining halls, and homes starting at £35 million. At the time, it looked like a safe bet. Fast forward almost 14 years and things look very different. London's prime property market is facing its toughest slowdown since the financial crisis. Taxes are higher, demand has cooled, and changes to the non-dom regime have driven wealthy buyers abroad. Deals for homes above £5 million are down 15% in the past year, and price cuts in the city's richest postcodes are rising sharply. For Caudwell, the timing couldn't be worse. The cost of the project has ballooned to more than £569 million, and construction is still ongoing. Some on the ground said it could take another 2 years before completion. Meanwhile, the project company has racked up big liabilities, including almost £90 million owed to Deutsche Bank, personally guaranteed by Caudwell himself. To break even, he'd need to sell each apartment for nearly £20 million. To hit his target of £2 billion in sales, the average price jumps to £70 million. For context, only 2 residential properties in London sold for more than £70 million last year. And so far this year, none. Critics in the industry say the prices are simply detached from reality. Buyers are cautious, preferring ready-to-move-in homes rather than off-plan investments. Other Mayfair projects tell a similar story: half-sold developments, repeated price drops, and unsold penthouses that linger on the market. Still, Caudwell remains bullish. His representatives say he's already had several strong offers and argue that One Mayfair is unique, the only luxury project currently under construction in the district, and one of the last mega-developments approved before stricter planning rules came in. There's also a twist. Caudwell has pledged to give away 70% of his fortune to charity, including the proceeds from this project. So for him, the motivation isn't just profit. But in today's market, shaped by higher taxes, tighter rules, and buyers more selective than ever, even a billionaire's vision faces a hard reality check. Will One Mayfair become London's next trophy address, or a monument to a market that lost its shine? Time and sales will tell.
Subscribe to our newsletter to receive our weekly bulletins and stay ahead of what's shaping the super prime property market.